I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed that in my entire life I never thought that I would see myself in such a state where I'm not capable of carrying myself for that Christ.
I was just wondering why you did not think that you could get that vulnerable, and why you did not think ahead that I would be there to help. Because when I said I'm committed to you, I'm loyal to you, I do to you with all the wedding vows, it was for this and more.
Hi, and welcome once again to another episode of Haze Up. So today I have a very special guest, very special guest with me. Well, let me introduce him first. So this is Mr. Fitila, my husband, and I'm looking forward to this conversation because I have asked some of these questions off camera and I did not get some answers that I wanted to. I'm hoping that being in front of the camera and being with a mic would draw some of those answers out. So we'll go straight into this episode. The purpose of this episode is to uncover how postpartum generally affects the relationships between a husband and wife, and also to understand how becoming parents generally just affects like your relationship and how that translates into like postpartum, dealing with anxiety and all of the other shenanigans that come with having a baby. So we'll go straight into the episode. Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Fitila.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for everyone that has been of support since this podcast and this initiative started. My name is Fitila. I'm pleased to introduce myself. All band, and I'm glad to be here.
Our very first question is this: how did becoming parents affect our relationship? Do you think it affected our relationship? Yeah.
I would answer this way. We had some level of trajectory in our relationship. We had a long time, or we dated for quite
6 years.
We dated for quite a number of years, courtship, whatever context to put it into. And even after we got married, the baby didn't come immediately. So those elementary years, and this is not a rule of thumb, everybody's processes or journeys or patterns are different. But those years, dating, courtship, and even marriage before the baby came, helped us to build some strong foundations, some strong friendship, and helped us just to create a better bond. So that helped us in preparation for the arrival of our baby, our first one, and first of the many to come. Right. Essentially, the birth of a baby or the birth of babies, it would always impact, or it will always change the dynamics of things. Having two adults is one thing. Having to now have two adults and a baby, to a toddler, to an adolescent, to a youth, it's a whole lot of journey. Did it change our relationship? Yes, for the better. We brought a different dynamics to it, for where we have to now look beyond ourselves and care for someone
other than ourselves.
Is that?
Someone other than us.
Someone other than ourselves. And it was amazing. The process was, in hindsight, amazing. If we have to go back to it again, yes, we have a better understanding of the entails and all of that. But yes, it does change the dynamics of relationship.
Okay.
The early years of your preparation as a single, or even in a stage of marriage, helps you to prepare ahead of that.
Yeah, okay. So I think one of the things that really helped us is partnership. I think that right from time we've always tried to be partners and tried to help each other out in things that we do. So yeah, it was quite a lot to adjust to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, like you said, the elementary fact that we had always like to be partners in things helped a lot as well. Yeah. So yeah, just to ask, when did you first notice any changes in my mood, in the way that I was reacting to things? Basically, when did you first notice any changes?
Reacting to things postpartum or while you were pregnant.
So did you notice anything during pregnancy?
For you, for us, nothing out of context or nothing out of the ordinary, because we had a bit of a journey. We were relocating to another country. You were doing your master's. You were pregnant. That's a triplet experience, right?
Yeah.
So given all that we had to go, all that we went through, and every dynamics that came along with that, I don't think, and I can't pinpoint to anything to say you reacted out of the ordinary. If there was an award for the strongest woman that ever lived, you don't have to go to the gym. The award is for you. Those processes were a lot. They did test us, but we're glad that for somehow God's grace was prepared for it, and we overcame. So in terms of
during pregnancy,
there were nothing out of ordinary.
That you didn't notice anything.
I didn't notice if you.
Okay. I didn't know particularly. I had low moods. I don't know if you noticed that I had low moods,
which were not beyond.
Yeah,
they were not beyond the set.
Yes, actually, I had low moods and I was actually anxious during.
I understand.
But I'm just trying to know if you noticed.
Yeah,
you did notice.
Like I said, they were not. If there's a range to measure those ones, you can easily pull it out. Pull it within what we expect within a certain trimester or certain period, or maybe because of a reaction to how you were feeling at some point. So I think.
Okay, so then postpartum, when did you first notice any changes?
For some reasons, you let down the guard of the strongest woman at that moment.
Yeah.
And postpartum, I think it first of all, it started from you already had an idea of how you wanted the birth to be conceived. No, not conceived, to be delivered. But that didn't happen the way you wanted it to. And I think you didn't give enough allowance to be able to accommodate every other possibility that could help. So that first of all was first of all destabilized you a bit. Then post delivery, and because we had some extended time in the hospital, and for someone who didn't like, as far as I've known you, you don't like hospital. So the extended stay in the environment maybe also contributed to that. So I would say from the point of delivery, I could sense the postpartum feel, then it all now further continued. I think you kind of sank into the situation.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I did sink, but well, I felt very weak at that point in time, and I really just wanted to get out of the hospital, and I just wanted to get out of the hospital. And because in my mind, it was like, okay, maybe I'd stay in the hospital like 1 or 2 days max. So when it went beyond that mark, I was just frustrated. First, delivery plans did not go as I thought it would. Then I'm staying in the hospital more than I thought I would. So I'm like, what? Why is everything just? And I was just frustrated and agitated. I think that was what just sparked up everything. I was just very much agitated. But I think that was just in combination with the fact that my hormones were everywhere. I was extremely tired, like weak, tired, pains all over my body, and especially because of how pregnant I was. With sciatica, I was still having some signs of the sciatica pain. With sciatica, with everything, everything that I had to go through, and also my body was really just very weak and had gone through a lot. So I think that was in combination with the sinking and just the agitation that just spoiled it up for me. So the next thing, so after the hospital experience and everything, then I'm just going to summarize this, like when we got back home, it was in phases and all, but generally, like when we got back home, and then I was always calling ambulances in the hospital, like every other day, calling ambulance, going into the A&E, calling 111. How did that come off on you? Like, how did you feel about all of that?
One of the things I think I did, I did a bit of research, read some stuff about postpartum before delivery, and I had an idea. I had an idea of, okay, what should be expected to a certain degree. I knew that one of the most important things you would need at that time would be love, presence, support, a lot of prayers, a lot of words of affirmation, and prayers, confessions. The challenging moments were when you have to deal with the thought that we did this together. Why is it only you feeling it? I mean, for you. And the fact that it looks like your life seemingly looks like it's at a pause, meanwhile mine is going on. So in those moments, you shut me out. You didn't share your thoughts or share what how you were feeling, how whatever. Because the fact that Simon of Cyrene helped Jesus to carry the cross does not mean that the weight of the sin of the world is on him. The fact that the disciples or the followers of Jesus, a few of them were around as he was going through walk with the cross does not mean they may not also I cannot, as it were, feel what you're feeling. What I can see are just the effects. So when I see the effect, I try to, based on knowledge, based on research, based on what I've maybe gathered from a community of people, to say, okay, if I can know what the root, not that I don't know what the root cause is, but at least if we can deal with the symptoms almost to the root cause, then we'll be able to get better at it. But that was a struggle because you preferred to hear what I would say from someone else that didn't cause this to you. So it was challenging.
Okay, so it was quite challenging for you. So what were some of the things that you saw? I want to know if you actually I know that you did not feel. What were some of the things that you actually saw that depicted that I was going through anxiety, that I was struggling with anxiety, or that I was struggling with depression? I'm asking this so that partners of people out there can know and see. There were some dicey things. I mean, it's not going to be the same thing for everybody, but there's some things that are common. So what were some of those things that you saw that pointed you to the fact that, okay, these are some of the things that are pointing towards the fact that you were going through anxiety at this point in time?
One of it is every mother is not comfortable when the baby is crying. But at a level when the cry gets to some level, there were some reactions that you had that was like, did I get myself here? Why is I mean, all the baby has to know not to do is to cry, and the mother will call. But there's some certain pitch of their voice or their cry that it was just a trigger. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Then at some point, the fact that almost every 3-4 hours you have to look out for someone, and you're not in a moment. Every lady or every mother will feel incapable at those moments to say, am I doing the right thing? Do I know what to do? And all of that. A bit of fear of doing the right thing, a bit of fear of you alone. I mean I could sense that. Then the fact that you didn't want to talk to me because of how you were feeling and all of that.
So I'm sorry to cut you short. So it wasn't like I didn't want to talk to you, but like you said, superwoman, strong woman. I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed that in my entire life I'd never thought that I would see myself in such a state where I'm not capable of carrying myself, or that Christ. I just felt so ashamed that I wasn't able to carry myself and that I wasn't able to do things. I mean, at every stage in my life, I'm usually able to, even if I don't know exactly what to do, I can research. I will ask. I think one thing that I learned this period was to ask people questions, because I didn't used to ask people questions and all, but I would do my research. I'll check online. I'll be able to figure out something and go ahead. But I felt so helpless, especially because of the anxiety. It had crippled me, and I felt so helpless. And I was just ashamed that you were seeing me like that, I mean, we've been vulnerable with each other from the very start, but that was another layer of...
Expect yourself to get to that.
Yes. I had never seen myself in that state. Let's talk of you seeing me in that state. I mean, it just felt funny. It just made me feel somehow and ashamed. And honestly, that's why I never spoke to you about some of those things. So, okay, back to this. So, yeah, I think you were talking about some other things before I got you.
So essentially, you just want to work out for anyone listening, one would thought for triggers. The baby, it could be food, could be...
What you mean by food? I wasn't eating, right?
Be food. I'll just leave it like that. It could be food. It could be people just reacting because people are not telling them what to do.
Yeah.
Right. So, you would have worked with this person for at least
9 months.
9 months for people who are sharpshooters. But before 9 months, at least you guys had you have a bit of history, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, depending on how long you guys had to date and court before you got wedded. So you will just notice some slight difference, some slight patterns. Read books, engage older matured women who have given birth. People who just recently gave birth to, so that they can share their experience with you and you'll be able to make a sound judgment.
Yeah. Okay. So just briefly, did you feel like you understood what I was going through? And was there any point that you felt scared and helpless?
In experience, I did not understand what you were going through, what you went through. In knowledge, I had an idea. Because of knowledge, you're able to say, okay, maybe 7 out of 10 ladies will go through this. These are possible reactions, or these are possible triggers.
Yeah.
Of how things turn out post pregnancy, postpartum. So I was just wondering why you did not think that you could get that vulnerable, and why you did not think ahead that I would be there to help. Because when I said I'm committed to you, I'm loyal to you, I do to you with all the wedding vows, it was for this and more, right? So those were as it were, frustrating, challenging moments. So you didn't talk to me. The next thing, you called the ambulance. I called the ambulance before you tell me. Once you've gone to the hospital once or twice, you kind of know the pattern. They would just want to know, and because when you have to go to the hospital, the baby also has to go, which eventually would not be healthy for him on the long run and all of that. So those were the challenges I had this moment.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to like communication now. Before we go deep into like communication and also, did you ever feel resentment towards me?
No.
Okay. No, I'm just asking because there's sometimes that a woman might be going through all that she's going through, because I don't know if anybody really knows, I don't know if people have really seen other people that are going through like anxiety, depression, and for one, you know that I was looking very unkempt. I was not thinking about myself in any way. I didn't care. I had not looked in the mirror for weeks.
Okay.
I looked unkempt. I just basically did not care about anything. And there's some partners that may start to look at their wives and start to feel some sort of resentment towards them in that period of time. I know you say no, but I'm just saying it out and bringing it up right now.
Lack of a better word. It's not that there are no better words also, but it's unfair on any husband to accommodate that thought for long, even if it flashes. The word is, there is wickedness to think that because for you as a man, you don't know what it takes to carry a baby 9 months, and also to go through the pain of labor is not a joke. For those who are strong enough to be in the room when a child is being delivered, either through childbirth or cesarean section, the pain of labor for anyone is not a joke. Yes. So, if you've ever been in a lot of pain, even as a man or a woman, what you need at that point is a lot of recovery, a lot of nutrient, a lot of help. At those moments, you are not careful about how you look, how you smell, your physique. All of that do not matter. What matters, first of all, is that you heal either bodily and you're better physically. Then all of those things will now fall into place. So it's wickedness to think that to accommodate the thought of resentment, right? Even if it flashes, right? Because you have to be able to, because even at that moment when you're vulnerable and, you don't know what you're doing, you still have to nurture and take care of a baby. The baby will still have to feed from you for a while, depending on what feeding style you choose, either exclusive or formula, or you want to go mix. It's still juggling a lot at that moment. You're not able to get yourself and get better emotionally, get better health-wise, and you're not start thinking, okay, managing it all. So it's a lot, right? And resentment should not
Yep.
at any point in time.
Yep. Yep. So I like that you say that because we're human, it's possible that it will come. Because I'm not even going to lie, I knew that I had a stench, which is normal after delivery. It's just normal that a breastfeeding, a mom who's just giving birth will have like that stench. They say so that the baby can know how to locate the breasts for breastfeeding, and also I knew that I had that stench and all, and that I hate to smell, and that added to like me just feeling very uncomfortable with myself and ashamed for some funny reason. It just added to it, I know. But I like that you say that it's not like the thought might not come because we're human. It might come and you're wondering, okay, why is this woman? But do not accommodate it. It, like you said, wicked and evil. And it's not because you are wicked and evil. It's just a situation. Because maybe we'll talk some other time about how the postpartum journey is for a man as well. It's not. I mean, the woman goes through like 99%, yeah, 99% of everything, but the 0.01% that the man goes through is quite a lot for them as well. So yeah, you're human, and if that sort happens to come up, kick it out immediately and learn to just show your wife love. Replace that thought with love for her. So I'm just going to move on to the next question, which is, when do you think that I started to communicate properly? Like, what was that point where you started to say, okay, this woman is learning to let me know things?
For you, it took a bit of time. It took some level of reassurance, some level of being constantly there, from level of showing that I'm invested and I'm interested in the process of taking care of our son. You saw me change the nappy. You could see that when we would take turns at night to make sure that he's able to sleep. You taught me how to, change his nappy. You taught me how to be able to make the necessary feedings, the vitamins, and all of the things we had to do. So you saw that I was willing to learn. You saw that I was willing to be a part of the process. You saw that I was not prioritizing our son over you and prioritizing you over us. I was trying to make sure I bring a balance to everything. You saw that I cared for your work, your businesses. And again, so by the time those efforts kept compounding, you began to see that, okay, this man is not going to leave me at any point in time because of the way I'm feeling. So you felt, okay, this man is truly, it truly means, or it meant what he said, and is committed to his commitment. You saw that we prayed, I prayed, and just tried to anticipate whatever it is we needed to do to move forward as a family, and I was doing that. Those moments kept building up, and okay, you eventually started getting better. We sought help in terms of therapy, but also we sought comfort and help of prayers from friends and families and our pastors, and that made things get better. Also, one of the things we did is to also make sure that we go out often, so that the more you see people, the more you also see recent mothers. Okay, gave you an assurance that you're not alone on the journey, and there are other people. So going to church was a lot helpful.
Yeah.
Taking evening strolls was a lot helpful. Going back into getting groceries and shopping was a lot helpful. So that made things better. And of course, the help we received from friends and family.
All right. So we're moving on to like faith. We'll be wrapping this up soon, but we're moving on to faith. So did your faith ever dwindle? Like, was there any point where you just felt like, is she going to get better at any point in time? Did your faith ever dwindle? How did you balance up having like your faith up? Because I know it was tough. I know it was really, the way you're putting up a strong face now, it was really tough for you. I know that it was really tough for you.
So I never thought that I never thought it was going to get worse than it was. And I did not also think that it was an hopeless situation. All I needed to do was to make sure that faith in God through the process and pray for you. The more I was able to pray with you and pray for you and read scriptures aloud to you is better. So one of the things that I know and I do is, and I think it was either McCankins who said this or Bishop Butler, Kate Butler. So he said the word was spoken so that it could be written, and written so that it could be spoken. And every time you read the scriptures aloud to yourself, the atmosphere around you changes. Also, I'd also noticed this while I was in school, when a couple of friends or even maybe some senior colleagues, when we just talk scriptures or talk about God, the atmosphere just changes and make things better. So I'd come a long way in my faith walk to understand that even though this could happen, and one of the Bible books I would like to read a lot of times is Psalms. And I knew there were a lot of times David was depressed and all of that, and they would say, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name." And at some point you would say, why am I happy? My soul, rejoice thou
in glory, yeah.
So if you read the Psalms properly, you would know that there are some Psalms that help to be able to lift a depressed mind, and there are some Psalms that help to praise, and there are some Psalms that help to challenge you for what God has in store for you. So at no point in time did I feel that my faith was not shaking at it.
Even when I remember when I started to talk to you and I mentioned that I did mention that I was thinking of suicide and all that.
I was shaking.
You did not shake at that point in time. Okay. Strong man.
God.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so when was the point where you saw something, maybe you saw me do something or say something and you're like, God has done it, or God has shown up for us?
So before pregnancy or before delivery, I had the witness to know that God has showed up for us. What I needed to do was to bring you up to speed to that, so that you would have that conviction throughout that process, to strengthen you, right, in that journey. The way I see it is, God has finished it. We now need to walk into the reality of what God has already finished. So when you were going through all of that, I knew this was sorted and a done deal. What I needed to do was just to make sure I keep praying for you and I keep reading the words to you or scriptures to you in confession, so that you would not come up to that level, right, where you will see that eventually this thing does not, I don't feel, or I'm able to, I don't have this thought as much as, or I'm able to counter these thoughts with words, change whatever my thought pattern or thought process is for the better. It was a journey, of course. It was a journey, but I think you began to take some steps yourself. Pray, read, reach out to people, ask questions based on your kind of person. You usually do not ask people questions, so you were reaching out. Sometimes some of those things may come up there, but you knew you're able to recognize when they come and how they come, so that you know what to do to be able to address it when it comes and get better. And yeah, so it took a journey. I could see that you were now beginning to listen to me and take some steps and believe, take some steps, believe and take some steps. I was like, okay, we're getting there.
So I think just to buttress what you're saying, taking steps is one of the things that really helped me, because I was just scared to do anything, really. I was really just scared to do anything at all, because I was scared. But then I noticed that I started to take little steps, any little steps, and I noticed that I didn't die. I didn't die because I just thought that I would die from anything. Like I've said in previous episodes, I felt like I was going to die from my fat or my breathing, or my blood vessels will explode or something. Anxiety is crazy. So I really thought that I was going to just die or something. But when I began to take little steps, and therapy did help me, because my therapist would tell me then, take the steps. And he just told me, you most likely will not die. That's what he said. You most likely will not die. Just take the steps. And I started to take those little steps, addressing my fears, saying words that I couldn't say before. I couldn't say blood pressure. I couldn't say anxiety. I couldn't say depression, because I would just shriek and go into fear. And also taking those little steps actually did help me. So how do you think that this is generally now, and it could include like going through like postpartum anxiety, depression and all of that. How do you think that couples can stay spiritually connected in struggling times, in tough times that life throws at them? How do you think couples can actually stay connected?
Thank you for the question. I think it goes beyond just for pregnancy.
Yeah, in life generally.
In life, really, the best time to prepare for battle is when there's peace. So if you have a stockpile of, if there are quite good moments, and everyone goes through those moments, there are quite good moments where things are going well, things are smooth, and the job is good, the salary is good, the business is good, everything is working out well, things are working. Intentionally create moments where you deepen knowledge, you pray a lot, you have in-depth discussions. That prepares for the moment and the time of battle. When those moments comes, you will be able to pray, receive a word, and you will be able to hold on to that word or that scripture, right, along with worship and thanksgiving. What you do in those moments are praying the scriptures the Lord gives you in those moments with a lot of worship and thanksgiving. That would help you, and possible also meditation. That will help you in the time of trouble. You would see that eventually it's either the trouble or the challenge disappear, or you grow bigger than the issue that you're currently facing, and things turn out to be better. So what I would say is you don't throw yourself into turmoil because there's a bit of a chaos around you. What you want to do is most likely act in a contrary way. Praise, worship, thanksgiving, pray, meditate. A word, scripture, an idea, a dream will come that would show you the possibilities of what lies around you. You would walk with what you have been given or what you have been shown, and you'll be able to find a way out in those situations. Eventually, when you now look back, you will now see that you will thank God that season came, because what you've been able to get in terms of harvest or in terms of a testimony would now teach you about possibly different principles and seasons about life and how you will navigate them.
Okay, so we're wrapping this up now. So if there's one advice that you could give to a husband watching this now, two things. To a husband watching this now whose wife is pregnant, to a husband watching this now whose wife is going through postpartum anxiety, depression, maybe insomnia, or just some sort of agitation and restlessness postpartum. There's one advice, let's say two now. Number one, if there's any advice you could give to that husband right now who's listening or watching, what would that advice be?
The greatest gift you can give to your wife is love. You would want to, scripture says, no greater love than any man
Has got.
No greater love.
Greater love has
no man
no man
except
shown.
that you lay his life for.
Greater love had no man shown than this. Something like that. That Christ laid down his life.
Yeah, that's in terms of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
What we do as husbands, or our role, is to be able to make sure that we can love our wife, even if it is to the point of what you want to do as a husband. Either your wife is pregnant or she has given birth and there is postpartum. You want to show up with a lot of love. And that does not mean that she would always accept it at that moment or at those points. But eventually she will grow to appreciate it. You want to also invest in knowledge. Read books about pregnancy, read books about postpartum, find good articles, watch videos on YouTube and things you could possibly do. Also, make sure that you yourself also have a circle of people a circle of either friends or a circle of dads or fathers that you're speaking with so that they can comfort you, because you're shouldering. You have to balance work, you have to manage the house, and that could be tough for a man that it may not be that homely. You have to manage the house. You would have to balance that with work. You have to be there for your son or your daughter or your twins or your triplet. You also want to make sure that you're keeping to the commitment to your wife, to know that you're with her. So one, you want to love. Two, you want to invest in knowledge. Two, you want to have a circle of a community of people, married fathers, elders that will wisdom into you to guide you as to what you're doing. Right. Four, if you're going to get help, if it's help from either family, your mother's side or your father's side, or professional help. And if it's a chronic issue, go seek a therapist, speak to your pastors, right? And see what they can do to come in for you. I think if you're able to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, love your wife, invest in knowledge, get a community, seek professional help, therapists, also carry your pastors along. If you're able to do those 5 things, there is, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. God would always come through. God would always come through. If you go through at least those 5 steps, it will help. If you anticipated it before pregnancy or even before delivery, that's fine. You already get those things in motion. If not, deploy at least 3 of those 5 steps or tips as fast as you can to see what you can do. God will definitely come through.
All right. Thank you so much. So I think that what you said is very important, especially with like having a circle of friends and community, because I think that's one thing that really helped us to come out of it. But then I want to speak to a wife who's going through postpartum depression, anxiety, postpartum struggles generally. I want to speak to you now, and just to let you know that it might be difficult to trust your partner, to trust your husband right now. It might be really difficult to see him the way that you used to see him. You might be accommodating some resentment towards him, or maybe you just feel very ashamed about how you look now, how you feel now. Maybe you've been strong all your life and then you feel so terrible that you're weak now. I just want you to know that your partner is there for you. I really hope that they're there for you. And if you do know that they are there for you, they have a track record of being there for you, I want you to know that you can speak with them. It's difficult. It's very difficult. Trust me. I do know it's very difficult, but this person has become you. This person has become one with you. And I think it's a strategy of the enemy to want to make you not speak to the person who is closest to you about what you're going through. But do speak with your partner. Open up. Bear yourself open with them. If possible, let them listen to this or watch this. And I really do hope that you come to a better place very, very, very soon. I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to hear about how you're getting better and better, because it only gets better. You can only get better. And trust me, it looks like it's crazy right now. I get you. I've been there. But you can come out of it. You will come out of it.
Yep.
I have come out of it. And I am not 100% yet. It keeps getting better. I'm not 100%, but I am not where I was 6 months ago. I'm not where I was 7 months ago. So you can come out of it. So thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode. And I will see you on the very next one. Thank you so much, Mr. Fitila. It was great to have you on the show. Thank you very much. See you on the very next episode of He's Up. Bye for now.
Bye.